Bigfoot.
A motherfucking Bigfoot.
Live from Command Center Alpha 1, it's the Our Big Dumb Mouth podcast. Now, here's your hosts, Midnight Mike, Juicy Joe, a.k.a. Flametown, and
Gretchen?
This is Mike.
Hello, I didn't call you.
Hey, everyone, welcome back to another fun-filled podcast adventure. Yay! My name's Midnight Mike. Over there on screen is the Nature Boy. He's over there. And Charlie Robinson of Macroaggressions is he's joining us as well.
Hello.
There is no Joe. There is no Cratchit.
Wrong.
And we'll do our best to support the show as best we can. I know Charlie brought some Cratchit-esque news. We'll try to fill that void. And we'll have just a whole bunch of fun. As much fun as we can. So I appreciate you guys coming on and joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Now, Nature Boy, you're from the Ocelli podcast. You're producer over there. I just want to get that out of the way up front.
I am the producer over there, yes.
Yes. Chuck Ocelli. You got the Nature Boy. Also, Chris Graves. I think those guys are doing a show tonight over there, right?
No, we're doing the Wild Card Wednesday.
Oh, Wild Card Wednesday. Okay.
He might be doing Chris's show before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, it's Wednesday, and we do have Alex Jones and clips of the week. But before that, Joe did send in another message, and Joe, our co-host, who's basically out of commission for a while, he did have this to say. Here we go.
Hi, this is Joe from the Our Big Dumb Mouth podcast. Sorry, but neither I or Cretched will be on the show today. I kidnapped him, and I'm forcing him to be my personal piss boy. He's getting me some Pizza Hut while I play Call of Duty. By the way, did you know you can order Pizza Hut for about $14? That's right. Your favorite cheese pizza with your choice of crust covered in classic marinara sauce and topped with gooey mozzarella cheese. It's anything but plain. Remember, we were at
All right. Well, it's an incredible statement by Joe there. It's almost unbelievable that he would say such things.
Was he stroking out?
he kind of does, like a little bit. I don't know. It's this new sign off. He's got this new crazy sign off. I just don't understand. But
I like it.
That's what he said. Cretched did not send in a message. I tried to get a message from Cretched, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. This is like the closest I could come when I was trying to mess with voices and everything. I got this. This is not, you guys try to guess whose voice this is.
Hey, brother. This is Joe, brother, from the Our Big Dumb Mouth podcast. I've been talking to certain wrestlers on the phone lately, and certain female wrestlers that were huge stars 10 years ago. And the first thing I ask them is, do you still want to work? No way, brother. What?
Does that sound like Hulk Hogan or a cheap imitation Hulk Hogan?
Sounds like Hulk. Cheap imitation, but definitely sound like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad, but...
I'm going to get off by cranking your knob just a little beyond the breaking point.
It doesn't have that aggression, though. It doesn't have that Hulk aggression.
No, the inflections you're missing and all the little subtleties that makes it such a great voice.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
It's Hulk on SSRIs, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Let's listen again.
Cheese burrito, brother. Doritos registered trademark cheesy gordita crunch, brother. Steak chalupa supreme. Or burrito supreme registered trademark. Choose two classics. A beefy melt burrito brother. Beefy 5-layer burrito brother. Bean burrito brother. Doritos registered trademark Locos Tacos. Soft taco supreme registered trademark. Or crunchy taco supreme registered trademark. Choose one side. A cheesy roll-up, chips and nacho cheese sauce. Or Cinnabon registered trademark Delights 2-pack. And finish with a medium fountain drink, brother. Remember, we were Jack Cake.
Okay. It's not that far off. It's pretty close. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. Enough of that garbage. Let's get to why people really came here. Alex Jones, Clips of the Week. Let's do it. All right, Alex Jones back from vacation, back in a big way. We got to go back to Thursday, June 8th. Here we go.
Hot dogs is male gay prostitutes. I can't help but tell the truth, and I really shouldn't be saying all this, okay? Look. We get like 10 million views a day on Twitter now. Okay,
Right. I see.
I mean, we were banned on there. We're not banned on there.
You're tweeting all the time.
I'm not that good at tweeting.
Okay. It's a little bit there. Not much. Yeah, apparently, Alex is really all about tweeting right now. So, okay. Even though he's banned. Here is Friday, June 9th.
He's running a secret space program, known as basically Space Force, and that the base is already set up, and that he was getting funding for part 2 of it on the dark side of the moon. Jews run the world, kill them, they're the devil. Maybe I'm trans. Why don't I explore that? Yes. Remember the old Alex Jones song? I'm gonna stab your daughter at the mall. Woo. The KKK and MS-13 are not trying to cut your son's penis off or your daughter's breast off. We're all looking for little green men in tin cans falling out of the sky. You're roasting your testicles.
All right. Moving right along, we got this Monday, Monday the 12th. Here we go.
It turned out Theodore Kaczynski, who was in the CIA mind control program MKUltra, this is in the LA Times, was in some of the first transgender studies. I always mispronounce it. The Kakaka or Kakova. If somebody cut my genitals off and had a giant open wound, I'd kill myself too. Oh, my goody gumdrops. Satan will sneak around and try to stick his plug in your rear end as fast as he can. It's just driving me crazy. Not only as the Skype keeps cutting out, that's why I'm talking over him, but it's done it again, but it's okay. That's shoving your whole arm up somebody's rear end, causes serious medical problems. If the Skype's not working, at a certain point, we're going to have to reassess this. We just lost his Skype. We're going to get him back on. But
all right. Skype problems. And yeah, I would imagine shoving your arm up someone's rear end would cause major medical problems. It
on both ends, I can imagine. If you're going to do it, you better trim your fingernails really good, or and do a little damage up there.
Yeah, back that ass up.
Here is Tuesday, June 13th. Here we go.
Are we seeing any of Pedo Joe's pedo supporters? How do I go from Johnny Be Good to my French Bulldog bleeding to death? I am kind of a coward when it comes to looking at child porn. I'll just hang it up right now. In fact, I can't take any more calls at this point. Go to rebroadcast. We'll see what happens. That means I'm going to rebroadcast, so find something to play. Thanks. I'm not going to use a 22. I'm going to use a machete on this raccoon. It's not like an old-fashioned thing that was over copper. It's digital. The Pope reportedly eats large platters of feces every week. You think you're at Chuck E. Cheese or something. You want Daddy to come punish you, right?
All right. He did say, I believe yesterday, that he is not going to get angry on air anymore. That he recognizes it's good for like memes and clips and viral moments, but he was praying to God that he would not get angry on air anymore. So I don't know. Maybe this segment's dead. If he's not going to get angry on air, maybe we don't have to track this anymore. But
he'll be angry by Friday. We know.
Well, here's Wednesday. Let's see what happens.
Cool Whip or Miracle Whip? What's one you put on pie? I call killing candy ass. It's so easy. It comes so easy. I mean, killing's such an easy thing to do. I'm a lesbian. I'm not going to blow up on air anymore. That's why I left yesterday. The autistic little boy who's 8 years old goes up and goes, oh,
God.
Just don't know what to say anymore. He's back in a big way.
Good old AJ. He is a character, that's for darn sure.
Sometimes I can understand, like, through those clips, kind of like what he's getting at, like in the show. But that last clip, I don't know what the direction of the show really was. But I would definitely love to hear Alex Jones's opinion on the most recent UFO revelations. I don't know if he's addressed it. We've talked about the debrief with the most recent whistleblower, and that's gotten quite a bit of attention. It's supposed to, like that whistleblower is supposed to go in front of the Senate, Congress, the UAP committee, and basically state in front of everyone what he believes is happening based upon what people have told him. Secondhand knowledge. That's it. Now, recently, Dr. Stephen Greer, he did his own little disclosure meeting. I believe it was on the 12th or 13th, and he had about 6 different former military guys up there giving their accounts of what they encountered. And I think they have they gave all the documents they could to the UAP committee. They talked to Dr. Stephen Greer, but it turns out the UAP committee doesn't really care about stories that much. They want data, they want pictures, they want video. I mean, they'll take the stories. They'll just probably shove them in a drawer somewhere. They're not going to really care that much. But here, I got some clips from the Dr. Stephen Greer disclosure. And this first segment here, I think this could be the most interesting. It's right around 4 minutes long. This guy, I will say, he knew he had to come in, not drag it out, not pontificate and tell their entire life story. He came in and said, I was down in Antarctica. I saw some weird stuff going on down there, and I'm going to tell you about it. So let me put this over here. I'm going to run my show leveler so I can boost, level, compress, and EQ at the same time. Here we go. And we are going to play it. Here we go. I'll bring it up on the screen. If you two guys want to watch it, you have to watch on Twitch. It'll be a little delayed, but it's just some guy talking. So here we go.
I'd like to introduce Eric Hecker. He's a Raytheon contractor based for about a year at the South Pole. He was involved in a neutrino light array. He has an enormous amount of information, but in the interest of time, we'll be brief. Thank you, Mr. Hecker.
Hello, everybody. Ladies, gentlemen, members of the press. I'm very happy that you're giving me this attention and this information attention because it needs to get out to the world. I will start, since we have to be brief. I have already given all pertinent information and supporting documentation to the Senate Intelligence Committee and ARROW. They informed me that all of my information will be recorded for public record and shared with Congress. It is that important. In 2010, I was selected to go down to the South Pole Station in Antarctica for an entire year by Raytheon Polar Services as an employee of a third-party contractor for the National Science Foundation. I function in a dual-role capacity as a tradesman and a firefighter. My responsibilities required me to be more informed than most of my crew and offered me complete access to the facilities. What I learned from this unique experience needs to be shared with the entire world. The technology at the South Pole Station certainly can do what it is presented as its primary purposes, and unfortunately, much more. The IceCube neutrino detector is presented as a passive listening device for the purposes of the science as presented. But I'm going to skip right through the chase, folks. I have provided documentation that proves that the 5,160, what they call DOMs, that are embedded in the ice can actually transmit at 2,047 volts each. That gives us a long list of things to consider. It is effectively a multifaceted directed energy weapons platform that I will list rapidly a few things that it can do. Vehicle detection. We're learning that these off-world craft, on-world craft, ours or other nations, are also emitting neutrinos. So this makes the South Pole Station effectively an air traffic control station for this new level of equipment that nobody's discussing. In addition to the ability to detect neutrinos and the exotic vehicles, I have provided documentation that shows that this is also a system for faster than light communications. In the past, Gary McKinnon has hacked NASA, found the off-world fleet, the list of captains, and it's apparent that if we have faster-than-light vehicles moving throughout the system, we're going to need faster-than-light communications. This is that facility. Unfortunately, I have other bad news. The season that I was there, 2010 to 2011, we converted from construction to operations and maintenance in both the elevated station and the detector array. Unfortunately, when they first fired it up, that was when we had the earthquakes in Christchurch, New Zealand. There was 2 incidental shots before they were able to target it correctly. This is an earthquake generating device as well. This is the weapons of war that we have to deal with now and what Raytheon's hiding. There's an ELF system at the South Pole Station that when I arrived, I was told it was off, dismantled, and completely defunct. In my work, I will rapidly just tell you, I had to figure out the circuitry for certain other repairs, and I found that this system is in fact completely energized, up and running, and being utilized with the other systems for nefarious purposes as well. The Atmospheric Research Observatory is in what we call the clean air sector. I witnessed myself a very powerful green laser shooting out of the top of this facility into the cosmos. This, I believe, is a secondary form of long-range communications and or a defense system. I am not saying that we need to be scared of anything that's out there, but please understand the military-industrial complex is happy to invest all of your money in alleviating their fears. A question of power comes into play for all of these facilities that are present. I assure you, I knew what was going on, I knew the load demands of the facility, and all of these new items exceed the demand for the systems that I was presented. I am doing due diligence and research. I believe there is either a secondary power supply there that is either nuclear, that was there prior to the start of the Antarctic Treaty, which prohibits such things, and or that there is some sort of exotic power supply system there that just is not in the verbiage of the treaty, so it negates the responsibility to the parties involved.
I'll cut it right there. I mean, that's a good place to cut it. So, Antarctic revelations. Now, some quite interesting statements there by this person. Say, earthquake machine, faster than light communication devices using neutrinos. Also, neutrino detection system that they use to track incoming UFOs or ETs. Now, there was, I believe, an article out of like 2019, 2020, where there was mainstream scientific acknowledgement of research going down at the South Pole concerning neutrinos. So it's tough to gauge. Like, some of these claims are so out there to your normal mainstream person, but for me, it's like, well, okay. If we're going down the rabbit hole of UFOs and Antarctica and what could be going on there, this is pretty interesting. Dr. Greer vetted this guy. Charlie, what do you think of some of these statements?
Well, I think it's interesting that if you're Raytheon, you're basically living a dual life. You've got one part of your operation that's existing sort of in the future, right? With technology that nobody is supposed to know about that they're working with. And then you've got the other part of your company that's kind of working in the past, or I guess technically the present, but it's the technology's old and outdated. You know it's old and outdated because you've got better stuff, but you're not allowed to talk about it. So I wonder how they do that, where they've got faster than light technology for communication. What could that be used for? It could be used for a ton of things here on Earth.
You could almost rule the world with that technology, I would imagine.
Right, but if you're not allowed to acknowledge that you have it, how could you explain that you're using it? It would be like having it but not being able to ever play with it, and that creates a really weird paradigm for I would imagine Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, all these other military industrial complex companies that are out there building triangles and things like that exist, but technically, legally, and officially don't exist. So you kind of have to pretend like you're doing the best you can with old technology while at the same time intentionally hiding the good stuff that you have, because in the event that somebody finds out about it, then they'll know that there's a secret space program when they see a 2 football field sized triangle go over fly over their house at low altitude. So the Raytheon came up over and over again in this 3-hour disclosure put on by Dr. Greer. That was the prominent defense contractor that came up was Raytheon, and so much so they were also like in one other story they created this man-made version of UFO, and it was
hovering over a base. There was elements that this was a physical vehicle. According to the witness, that was pretty much just like a guard at a base. He acknowledged that it was a physical vehicle, but there was another vehicle above it in tandem. And he kind of got the assumption that one or both could have been a holographic projection. He said he would have threw a baseball at it if he could have. But he was under the impression that it was real, but it didn't seem real. So there was some elements there, and Raytheon kept coming up over and over again throughout this conference here. Nature Boy, you want to speak on that before I move to the next clip?
Well, I've always said that, kind of learned a little bit while I was in the military, but not to this degree, that if they were to ever release the cutting edge of the darkest technology and just lay it out for the public, lay it out for the world, there would be a large number of people who, no matter what you told them, what you showed them, would not believe what they're seeing is real. And having been somebody who has seen funky things in the sky that can't be explained, I'm a true believer that there is technology that exists that we possess and potentially exist outside of the universe that is antigravitic, that can exceed the speed of light, that can warp the fabric of time, space, therefore basically making distances irrelevant. So that's kind of my take on that whole thing. And also, Charlie, I think you mentioned something. Were you referring to the TRB-3, the giant triangle that our military has? Well, excuse me, allegedly has.
Right. Yeah.
Go for it, Charlie.
I've also got a quote here from Ben Rich, who is the former CEO of Lockheed Skunk Works in 1993. He said to an alumni group at UCLA, quote, "We already have the means to travel among the stars, but these technologies are locked up in black projects, and it would take an act of God to ever get them out to benefit humanity. Anything you can imagine, we already know how to do."
Exactly.
We could take ET home, I think he mentioned one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He said, we now have the technology to take ET home.
Aliens!
There is a person in this conference that Dr. Greer put on, is a former Marine, and he was a Marine featured in I believe the Daily Mail article that we read last show. And that was that this Marine was part of a squad that was dropped off in Indonesia as part of a humanitarian relief. And they decided to wander a little bit further away from the spot they dropped off at. They encountered what they saw was a giant UFO hovering above the ground, and they saw it was being loaded with something. As they approached, they were stopped by men all dressed in black. They were disarmed. They were told to shut up and leave the area. If they don't, they're going to be executed, essentially. And that was it. Now, when this guy talked during the conference, he added another little detail that I don't believe was in the story. When they were loading up this giant UFO that eventually took off very silently, creating no wake, no wind. He believes that they were loading that UFO up with canisters that contained humans. That was his impression. It wasn't like a standard 50 cal box of rounds. It wasn't like ammo or weapons. He said they were kind of rounded. It almost kind of like what you would see like in the Aliens movie when they put you in a stasis chamber to prevent you from waking up on a long distance journey. That's the impression that he got of what they were loading up as cargo into the UFO. And so, obviously, he and his squad didn't get killed. They went back to the ship, and they were debriefed by an admiral who they had never seen before. And he seemed kind of sketched out. He went into a lot of detail. There were some other people that talked that very compelling, very interesting stories. Dr. Greer is saying that there are ET vehicles, and then there are man-made ET vehicles. But he says all ETs are basically good in nature. They're benevolent. They have our best interest at heart. They're not evil in any way. He said that multiple times during this, and I'd like to know how he knows that exactly. Is he just assuming based upon other people's stories that these are good ETs? I don't know.
I hear there's a lot of probing going on. And there's nothing good about getting probed by an alien. I'll be honest with you.
Well, I believe Dr. Greer is blaming that on biologically manufactured entities created by our military or a breakaway part of our military to do MILABs, military abductions. And he's not blaming that on the aliens. He's blaming that on our version of the aliens we have created for ourselves for our own purposes.
Well, didn't Eisenhower supposedly sign it? Either him or Truman sign a treaty with the UFO aliens where we can, in exchange for technology, they can occasionally go pluck a couple of humans up, do their tests, probe them, send them back down, and they'll cover it all up. Just keep giving us the technology so we can go to the stars and have 0 point energy, but we don't tell the people about that.
That's the rumor was Eisenhower, and supposedly that was signed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and that there should be footage of it. And, well, there probably is somewhere, and it's literally all rumor. I think that the test pilot, oh, God, what's his name? Gordon. He was a famous test pilot. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. His name's Gordon, but
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
former astronaut.
I don't think he was an astronaut, but he was the guy that broke the speed barrier multiple times and was a test pilot, a real go-getter. But he claimed that he was at one of the Wright-Patterson Air Force meetings where one of these things landed down, and that there is footage. And he's just like, I don't know where it's at, I don't know.
And then there's Valiant Thor, the story of Valiant Thor, the Venetian, who apparently was giving information to the feds, and they put him in a cell at night to keep him sort of locked up, and they would check on him, and he'd be gone, just totally missing. And then the next morning, he'd be back in there, and they didn't know what was going on. If you believe that.
Valiant Thor, the stranger at the Pentagon, which is a rumor, a conspiracy that a person from Venus who looks very human, claimed
very
to
Nordic,
be very Nordic, was coming down to work with the United States and basically to advise, to consult the Pentagon and the military on what should and shouldn't be done. I believe the point of contention was the use of atomic weapons, nuclear weapons, and that Valiant Thor ultimately gave them the chance. You could have a clean, limitless power future of peace. All you got to do is give up these devices, and it can be all yours, or go down the path you're currently going down. And they basically told Valiant Thor to go pound sand. We're not giving up our weapons. I mean, it's an incredible story to consider, but it's there. I'll play one more clip from Dr. Greer. This is kind of his UAP rundown. He gave a bullet list, and I love lists here, so we'll play this from Dr. Greer, and then we'll move on a little bit.
Next. So here's what we need to go through very quickly. It's a lot to unpack. This is not intended to be, we just did a 2-day conference right next door. The media are welcome to get that entire event with all the details for you if you wish to have it, or people get it to you. But basically there are two types of these so-called UAPs, and I've said this. Some are extraterrestrial vehicles, ETVs, and some are ATs or ARVs, advanced reproduction vehicles or alien reproduction vehicles. People use different terms. The extraterrestrial groups are absolutely not hostile. However, screaming caps, they are increasingly concerned about human hostility and our weapon systems, which include nuclear and scalar, the so-called Dr. Zahari shared this weekend about what scalar electromagnetic fields are. But just to give you a sense of it, you all know what an electromagnetic pulse is. That's at the speed of light. The scalar systems are, instead of a wave, is a point that goes out longitudinally. Some call them longitudinal waves. These have been studied. Tesla talked about scalar systems. They have been weaponized. And those are the primary systems used to target and hit these electromagnetic field propulsion craft that cause them to fall like a rock out of the sky. You do not travel from another star system and cannot navigate a thunderstorm in New Mexico. That ain't going to happen. So even at that point, these had been early systems. We have a FBI memo from a field agent that we released. It's now one of the most watched, viewed documents on the FBI website of the fact that a field agent at the Roswell, after Roswell, said to J. Edgar Hoover that a disk was downed because we had switched on a new radar system. So let me explain the euphemisms that are used in this field. Radar can track an aircraft by bouncing a wave off of the fuselage, but it also can have piggybacked an active system not to hit it. So you can have an active weapon system embedded in a radar system. So that's what began to be experimented with, and this is why from the mid-40s forward, there were a number of these downed objects that we've been able to document. If we've documented 122 of them, I suspect there have been multiple numbers of that. So what's very important about this, these technologies are unsanctioned. They are illegal operations, and this can be proven in any court of law, and we're about to launch a massive civilian RICO action, racketeer influence, corrupt organization action against the corporations and the individuals involved. These technologies would immediately solve the world's energy, environmental, and poverty problems. Why? These are what people call, a senior executive with a big Fortune 100 company contacted us. They're called, some people say free energy, but they're 0-point and quantum vacuum energy systems, pulling energy out of, let's call it the fabric of space-time. These begin to be developed. Tesla knew about this, so I think Elon Musk doesn't have a Tesla, he has a Musk. A real Tesla we didn't have to plug in. I'd have one little battery in it. But the point is that these technologies would have a huge revolutionary effect. Macroeconomically, there would be some losers, oil industry, public utilities, nuclear power, now wind, solar, surface roads eventually would be obsolete.
We can cut it right there. So just underscoring how disruptive this will be, getting ready to launch a massive lawsuit. I'm assuming Raytheon is mentioned in there. At the end of this talk, they brought in a lawyer to kind of go over some of the legal aspects of it. I mean, considering all this stuff is like beyond classified, if this stuff exists, and I believe elements of it most certainly do exist, it's beyond classified. And it's probably in a group that has absolutely no oversight. They answer pretty much to no one. They're basically a breakaway civilization. And if they have this technology, they can communicate faster than light. They have UFOs. They're basically above the law to a certain degree. Why do you think the legal system is going to work at all with these people? They're a criminal group at this point. We already think that our government is corrupt and criminal. And I understand you got to go through certain legal processes in order to make enough noise to get some attention. But ultimately, when do you think the legal system has ever worked to hold people accountable for these massive crimes like this? Is there an instance? Maybe I'm too black-pilled here.
Well, it kind of goes to something that somebody said a long time ago about Britain, is you can't arrest the Queen because the Queen owns the law. So even if you tried, to me, it's a lesson in futility, because these are groups and organizations, kind of like what Fletcher Prouty said about the secret team, that are above the law. They're extra law, I guess you could say, lack of a better term. So how can one honestly, in a logical sense, think that you're going to sue the national security state when they're above the law. And then even if you try to, only thing that they have to say is case closed, national security.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Greer also said there's a lot more whistleblowers that are willing to come forward, but they require some sort of special whistleblower protection that not only protects like them from like prosecution, but they need their assets protected, all their money, all their housing, whatever kind of assets they may have that needs to be protected. And then they also need like some sort of actual physical protection, like armed guards, almost like a witness protection program. That's what they're asking for before some of these people are able to or willing to come forward. Which, if that's true, I can buy it. If half the stuff that we're hearing is true, then they'll probably do pretty much anything that it takes to keep a good majority of it secret. And that the UAP committee that we're having and everyone's talking about, that's just the front door to a very large building. And that door is just enters to one very small closet, and that's all they can see is just that closet. And the much larger building is off limits, and this whole thing is basically a dog and pony show to drum up maybe some more support for defense spending, the military, but they don't want to reveal too much that disrupts the status quo because, as you said there, it would disrupt economies.
Back in 1986, during the Iran-Contra hearings, Daniel Inouye, who is the senator from Hawaii, had a really interesting comment that I think applies now. When you say it in 1986, people probably don't really think much of it, but he said there exists a shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanisms, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of national interest, free from all checks and balances and free from the law itself.
Mm-hmm.
So he talks about this other government. Bill Clinton was on the record saying, there's another government that I don't control. So Catherine Austin Fitts and Mark Skidmore discovered $21 trillion missing just from the Department of Defense and HUD. That's 2 of 17 federal agencies. Before they had a chance to investigate the other 15, the federal government instituted FASB 56, which was a law that allowed them to obscure the accounting records of all federal agencies and keep a second set of books in which the numbers could be blacked out and they could give that to the general public. So basically, they legalized just making up your accounting. So there's missing money.
It doesn't exist, folks.
If 2 of the 17 agencies account for $21 trillion, it's reasonable to think that this number exceeds $100 trillion. And so what do you spend $100 trillion on without anybody noticing it? Well, you have to do it in these secret programs like Skunk Works and the like, and these super secret dark projects in which the money just really never sees the light of day. It just kind of recirculates through these defense contractors and who are the government at this point anyway. They've sort of merged into it. You want to talk about fascism everywhere. Look at what the military industrial complex and the American government have become. They're inseparable. So this is an explanation. If somebody wants to know where the money went, this is what you'd spend it on.
It's these deep underground military bases are not cheap, and there's quite a few of them. And during this talk that Greer put on, a person came on with military experience. His family had military experience. His dad was like a military contractor, and he told a story of being taken down to down into a deep underground military base for the purposes of bidding on a contract to create a brand new firing range down there. And he didn't know how far he went down. He was young at the time. But he did see like this hovering, weird, like monolith kind of thing. And he tried to get close to it, try to tie his shoe to kind of understand like how it was floating above the ground. He couldn't do it, and they told him to keep moving along. But it was like as he approached it, he just felt this reverberation go through his entire body, like it was this humming, but there was nothing audible. All he could hear was other people walking around, and then they took him to the site to where they want the brand new firing range to be underground, so his father could bid on it. And they went back up. They asked him to sign non-disclosure agreements about everything they saw down there. They all refused to sign the non-disclosure agreements, and they said 24 hours later, all their bank accounts were wiped out. The business that they had was shut down, and within a month, his father was homeless on the streets. All because he believes they refused to sign that NDA. And it ruined his life. It ruined his father's life, and he believed that he was a target from then on out. It was only recently that he was able to kind of pull his life back together and acknowledge what really happened in his life. So
now, those stories make sense to me. The Lou Elizondo nonsense never did. The Corey Goods and the Blue Chickens and all these stories were nonsense. But a guy talking about how the government retaliated against him because he refused to sign a non-disclosure and ruined his life, that of course is completely feasible and reasonable. I mean, it's crazy, but we know that stuff happens. That makes me believe the story more so than just about anything else. The fact that the guy's life got turned upside down by the government.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I really do believe this.
That's David Wilcox right there.
David
the manager, the mouth of the South, really for Corey Good, who's still fighting for the Blue Chickens in space.
I did that stuff.
Smoking white blunt Philly owls in the hood.
Yeah, you did.
As I said before, I chilled with black guys from Harlem. I smoked cannabis with them, 420, blunts, white owl, Philly blunt.
That's what he does. He loves to do that. Oh, boy.
He's in the game.
Mr. Wilcox, such a truthful person. I tell you what.
Well, Nature Boy, I know you got to take off here pretty soon, don't you, buddy?
Yeah, I got probably about another 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
Then I got to blow over there and produce a show for Chuck.
All right. Well, I think we'll let you go right now. So before we head into anything else, so you're not like leaving during something. Do you want to promote anything before you go?
Yeah, everybody come over to the Acelli Effect. You can go to acelli.com for his podcast. We've got Chris Graves. We've got a whole host of great guests and great content. Wednesdays is Wildcard Wednesdays, so we just rotating guest for him tonight. We're having Shannon Rowan she authored a book that was William Ramsey recommended her. It was Shots Fired, something about weaponizing COVID and the vaccine. So it's an interesting topic. The Rockfin, we have a Rockfin channel that we're getting up and going. Took us a while, but Chuck's new to video, so I had to kind of drag him kicking and screaming, but he's there. And I just want to thank both of you. I mean, Macroaggressions, OBDM, those are two of my favorite podcasts. So the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you gentlemen is kind of a nice thing for me.
Well, it's a blast having you, Nature Boy. Thank you very much for your voiceover work and coming in. We really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. You have a good night.
All right.
See you later.
And, don't get probed. If you do, bring a little KY just in case.
All right.
Chabwagoo.
Good advice.
All right.
There's a Nature Boy. Yeah, he does the voiceover for us. Hopefully he does a voiceover for a lot of other podcasts out there. But now I have his voice.
He's fantastic.
I'll AI him. Easy to do. All right.
Have him do my audiobook.
You really should.
At some point.
Yeah. Price. It would definitely sell. It's tough to get that kind of vocal talent. It really is. Like you're kind of born with that voice, but then you get an amazing voice like that. But if you don't know how to talk or put a sentence together or read something, it's really kind of useless.
You remember that guy that was like on the side of the road, the homeless guy who had the like golden voice?
Oh yeah.
And they're like, you should be doing voiceover.
Yeah.
And it was like, they took him to Hollywood and they gave him a haircut and cleaned him up and he started doing voiceover. And then he went back to smoking crack like a couple months later.
Crack is that good, people. It really is.
It's the best, apparently.
Yeah. That was right down the street from me.
Was it?
Yeah, it was literally right down the street from me. So when I was broadcasting from my bunker apartment, It was down 17th, and I would go down there. We would go down there. There's a Wendy's over there, and we would see him. And he had a sign that said, "We'll do voiceovers for money." And at the time I was playing in a band, my bass player and I would always say, "We got to get that guy to do something for us." But and then his viral clip went around on the internet of him doing a voiceover. And that's when he started getting all these deals, and he was like, "Oh, this is fantastic." He was getting a lot of money, and then he started blowing it all. Like, he had an estranged family and thought that he could buy them all Louis Vuitton bags to get back in their good graces. And they're like, "We just want you to get sober and be healthy. You know, the bags are nice, but get healthy, get your life together." And I think he was the voice of Kraft macaroni and cheese for quite a while. And hopefully he's doing better. Hopefully.
I hope so.
All right, let's
Could be the voice of InfoWars if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder where that guy
Alex is ready to quit.
I'll have to look up and see where that guy is. Last I heard, he was doing voiceover for some station up in Cleveland. And I hope he's doing okay. He had just an amazing voice.
Yeah, he did.
We'll go on and do some more headlines here. All right. I think on Saturday I'll be talking about Skinwalker Ranch. Figure that out. I know Herman clued me into this guy's talk about quantum paranormal. I bought the book. I got to start reading it. I listened to his talk, and he has a pretty interesting theory on the orbs that are seen, the balls of light that were confirmed by the UAP committee, that these metal spheres are seen all over the globe. The UAP committee doesn't really know what they are. This guy seems to have a pretty good idea. And by the way, at Skinwalker Ranch, they have a pretty good photograph of one now as of a few episodes ago. So I'll bring it up and talk about it then.
Cool. Did the guy take a picture with his broken cell phone?
It's not broken cell phone. It was a trail cam. And I got to say, not the most high-resolution trail cam. It's like you can get anything in 4K nowadays, you know? And you don't have to spend a bunch of money for a 4K trail cam. Apparently, they're still using 720p like I am over here. But for whatever reason, they didn't have 4K.
It's a Polaroid of Bigfoot. It's going by.
You can tell it's a sphere, though. You can tell it's a metal object. It looks like a metal object right there. But I'll bring that up on Saturday. We'll move on here and talk about some other stories here that I think people might care about. And if they don't, at least we'll have fun talking about it. And this next one I will bring up on screen here. Mysteries Revisited, 3 notoriously cursed horror movies. Cursed horror movies. Okay. Some of the world's most notoriously creepy movies continue to disturb and intrigue long after the credits roll. Some of the most disturbing things about a movie happened off-screen rather than on camera. Like, for instance, Poltergeist 1, 2, and 3, directed by Tobe Hooper, and produced by Steven Spielberg. Oh, yeah, I forgot he produced Poltergeist. The original Poltergeist told the terrifying tale of a family who became besieged by a malicious haunting that culminated with their youngest daughter being pulled through a portal to the other side. Tragedy would notoriously follow the cast and crew, however, with Dominique Dunn, who played Dana, being murdered by her abusive ex-boyfriend, Julian Beck, who played Kane, dying of stomach cancer, William Sampson, who played Taylor, dying of surgery complications, and perhaps tragically of all, the film series' young protagonist, Heather O'Rourke, dying of septic shock. So the entire cast pretty much taken down throughout the course of the movies.
There were real questions about Steven Spielberg's involvement with this thing. You know, there's some dark stuff surrounding the Heather O'Rourke component. I can't speak to the others. But there was a lot of nonsense going on about that, and sort of some real question marks. I think Jamie Deluxe has done some good work on this and talked about that. I don't know the details enough to really get too far into it, but I think if people are interested to know like Steven Spielberg's role with the poltergeist, with the death of Heather O'Rourke is a topic of discussion, and we can maybe leave it at that. But it's something to take a look at.
Yeah, I have heard that too. Steven Spielberg, obviously one of the kings of Hollywood, and you don't make it in Hollywood unless you do certain things. That's the rumor. The Hollywood gangsters, they gotta basically punk you in or punk you out. And with all the stories of young actors and actresses of what may happen to them. I mean, Corey Feldman has been pretty open about his experiences. Beyond being
Corey Haim was talking about, he had a hotline, right? You could just call him up.
That too, and also Corey Haim was on record that he was raped by Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Come on, it was brilliant. You loved it. Let's just do a follow up.
No. You can't speak of Corey Haim that way. But yeah, and by the way, Poltergeist. The phenomenon in general, not the movie, the phenomenon, as explained in the book, Quantum Paranormal, the existence of poltergeists, according to this guy who wrote the book, is I'll give his, and I contacted him. I tried to say, hey, come on the show, come on, you need anything you want, we'd love to talk with you. His name is Patrick Jackson. According to his theory, the poltergeist phenomenon is the result of you getting in the way of two orbs that are communicating. And due to electromagnetism and microwaves, you're in the way of their communication. You're like disrupting it in some way. So the poltergeist that you experience is their reaction to get you out of the way and to get you to leave the area so they can have a clear line of communication. That's what he believes. Interesting theory when it comes to poltergeists and hauntings is that you are simply standing too close to a communication line. They got to scare you away.
And another thing that's my fault. Yeah. Wonderful.
Another thing I got to do.
Now I have to move out of the way. Hey, they're the ones that are interdimensional.
Yeah. Do something.
They go have this conversation elsewhere. I can't move my house. What do you want me to do?
Can't these orbs just move somewhere else? Like they're floating around. Like, why don't you move? I'm tired of moving. Here is another cursed picture. The Exorcist from 1973. When it was released, the original Exorcist was so terrifying that some unsuspecting cinema goers ended up passing out in the theater. Things didn't go much better behind the cameras either. When shooting began in 1972, a fire tore through the set of Regan McNeil's home, causing extensive damage. It was a particular twist. The room was used for the actual exorcism scene, but escaped unscathed. So the actual exorcism room was all good. It's just everything else burned. How bizarre is that?
Weird.
Actor Jack McGowan and Valisky Malosro both died shortly after filming had wrapped. Both Linda Blair and Max von Sydow suffered a loss close to their family members during shooting. Jason Miller's son nearly died in a motorcycle accident, and several actors were injured on set. There were even a story of lightning striking the church opposite a cinema where the film was showing. I don't know. Maybe there's something to trying to invoke the dark one during artistic creation, which then just winds up cursing you. You're trying to channel all this dark energy to make this piece of art, this film, and through that channeling process, you do leave yourself open to weird stuff happening in your life. Let's see here.
Remember the rumor of from the guy John Todd, I think from the 70s. He talked about how all of the record executives, the heads of the record companies, had little altars in like a closet in the CEO's office that you'd open up, and it would be this altar, and they would put the master recording there, and they would infuse it with black magic, and they would before they released it to the general public, they would infuse it with all this psychic energy, so that then when it went out into the world through the radio and through the sale of their albums and cassettes, that it would then infect everybody with whatever the energy is that they wanted. I remember hearing that thinking, well, that sounds about as crazy as you can get. But now, after looking at what Hollywood has become, I know we're sort of talking about the movie industry, but it's the music industry as well. I mean, like, look at how crazy and satanic it's gotten.
It's gotten crazy.
Like overt Satanism.
I wouldn't put it past them. If it said, listen, this album's really good, it's probably going to sell, but it couldn't hurt to sprinkle a little black magic on this thing, right? Ooh. It can't harm anything, right?
Jimmy Page, was known to be that owner of an occult bookstore. You know, there's
he was all about Aleister Crowley. He bought Aleister Crowley's summer house on Loch Ness. Oh, and it's rumored. It's not. You can't prove this one, but some people are saying that Jimmy Page's love of the dark arts, possibly not necessarily the reason, but Robert Plant's son died. The lead singer's son died, and tragically died. And some people blame Jimmy Page's toying with black magic and the dark arts for that. But
okay.
I mean, I'll blame anybody. Sure. Let's blame Jimmy Page.
Sure.
All right. The last Kuros movie we have here is The Omen, which I got to say, I don't think I've ever seen The Omen.
I haven't either.
Yeah. I know it's a good one. I haven't seen it. I probably should, but maybe I'll hold. I'll determine that after I read how cursed it is. So another supernatural horror classic, The Omen, followed the story of Damien, a seemingly innocuous young boy who just happened to be the son of Satan himself. I mean, never name a kid Damien. That is lesson number 1. Yay! I went to school with a kid named Damien. He was a bit of an asshole, but not a man.
Might have been the son of Satan.
Yeah, maybe. A mere 2 months before filming started, the son of actor Gregory Peck shot himself. Maybe read the script. I don't know. Then, when Peck was flying to London in September, his plane was struck by lightning. Oh, my God. Quote, the devil was at work and he didn't want that film made, he said. An animal handler who worked on the crazy baboon scene was mauled by a tiger shortly after filming wrapped on Friday the 13th. Special effects artist John Richardson was involved in a car accident. So, holy moly. You'd expect to be working with a crazy baboon. You got to watch out for that baboon, but watch out. Right behind you, that tiger's going to come take you down.
Yeah, you get distracted with the baboon, and then that's when the tiger makes its move. But what about The Crow? What about the Batman series? These are some movies that had kind of a dark history. Obviously, we know about Brandon Lee with The Crow, but also the Batman series, you started to have people breaking down that were playing the Joker role. Yes. That were experiencing, saying, listen, this character is like really not to be messed with. It kind of takes over your body and kind of puts you in a really dark place. And we saw some things happen with that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, The Crow with Brandon Lee, obviously tragic story of Bruce Lee, then his son, but I don't know what else happened on set. He may have been cursed.
Yeah.
So the animal handlers had some bad experiences there. John Richardson was involved in a car accident. While he escaped with his life, his passenger assistant Liz Moore was decapitated in a manner very similar to a scene in the movie that Richardson himself had worked on. To cap it all, a plane that was chartered by the film before being switched at the last minute went down a short time after taking off, resulting in the deaths of everyone on board.
Relax.
It's kind of like a Final Destination move right there.
Yeah, no kidding. This could just be some really good post-release guerrilla marketing campaign.
Yeah, maybe. It comes out right now. You probably would want to release this in September, right before Halloween, and not necessarily June, but,
yeah,
we'll take it.
Yeah.
Some curse movies right there. All right, we'll move on to some more headlines. Since I do have this in the headline, I will bring this up, and then we'll see what Charlie brought for us. But this headline here, it's being covered up by an ad. Let's see here. The Grand Canyon National Park ranked the deadliest with the highest number of deaths, missing persons reported since 2018.
Oh, really?
We cover a lot of missing park-related stuff on here, thanks to Missing 411, David Politis' work. He has tracked a lot of missing people, a lot of deaths that have occurred in mysterious ways in national parks, primarily. And it turns out Grand Canyon ranks tops since 2018.
We're number one.
Yeah, great. Come visit us, and maybe you'll stay here forever.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There's a good batch of these people that are just dumb tourists that are taking selfies and fall off, right? I mean,
Sure.
that's got to account for some of it. But boy, the work that David Politis has done on all these national parks. Anytime you start talking about massive amounts of deaths at national parks, I think about his work, and it makes me very suspicious as to what's really going on. These areas have a lot of sort of tight federal oversight, and weird things seem to happen.
They do, and I wouldn't take it like for some of this stuff. Like someone might just follow their GPS right off the cliff of the Grand Canyon, and next thing you know, they're falling down the side of it, and they're never seen again. That's a possibility with some of these that are not Missing 411 related, but. The Grand Canyon National Park is the deadliest in the country with the highest number of missing persons reports and deaths among hundreds of U.S. national park sites nationwide, records show. So Grand Canyon top of the charts, and its numbers of missing person reports, deaths, and even suicides from 2018 through the first 2 months of this year, according to records obtained by the Post via the Freedom of Information Act. Yeah, they don't really. You got to really ask for this stuff. They don't really have like a website where it's like a counter, like 0 days have gone by since we've lost a person here in a national park. You're not greeted with that. They want to keep this on that down low. They're not broadcasting. They want you to come in, visit the national parks, have a good time, pay some money, be a tourist, and if you happen to go missing, well, so be it. We ain't telling anybody unless they come asking.
Didn't David Politis say they tried to charge him $50,000 to get the list?
Yeah, I believe that was Yosemite. They wanted a crazy amount of money for all the admin work it would do. It would take them to create like a spreadsheet, and he just doesn't got that kind of money. It was crazy. No. The sprawling 1900 square mile Arizona National Park is far smaller than its counterparts and sees millions few visitors than many others of the 424 national park sites. At least 56 people have been reported missing from the Grand Canyon National Park since the beginning of 2018, and at least 6 people have been found dead. That's a lot of missing bodies.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount of missing bodies.
Do you think they're actually missing, though? How many of these people you think are faking their deaths?
I don't know. I mean, like they're like, the hell with modern life. I'm just going out there and I'm living it. I'm just going to live my life as long as I can out here. Or you think they're like dipping out, wait to go missing, presumed dead, and then they go back into society under another name.
Yeah, I think they're on the run.
Yeah,
I think there are people that are pretending that they got lost at a national park, and there's also the interdimensional component, that David Politis talks about. People just like disappearing, and then they search the area 15 times and this person's not there, and then the 16th time they're just magically sitting there dead.
Yeah, I think they're just
without shoes on,
slightly out of sync with our time. They're like slightly out of sync. They might be in a side portal, or just maybe a few seconds ahead, a few seconds behind, a few minutes, but they're slightly out of sync. Some people appear to be they're out of sync by decades, if not hundreds of years. But it could be some people slipping out of society. They hate their life, and then slipping back in under some assumed name, which we don't know.
Tom Shimabukuro?
Yes, they re-enter life as Tom Shimabukuro, as one does. As it is, so there's only looks like 48 people's bodies haven't been found since 2018. But the Department of Interior records were not only redacted, but also inconsistent in the level of detail included, and incomplete as part of privacy regulations that prevented the agency from releasing more than 60 pages provided to the Post. Wow, what is so critical that they couldn't release all the information? And I think David Paulides has faced similar obstacles in getting some of this information.
They're getting loaded up into shrink wrapped and loaded up into that
UFO
and taken.
Yeah, we need your body for something. Like, listen, resources, you got a lot of stuff on here. What we need is your DNA. That's what we need.
Yes, so we can make a synthetic copy of you in some laboratory somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do it.
The records, despite outlining roughly 1,100 missing person reports dating back to 2018, are likely only a glimpse at the recent history within the massive National Parks network. So there you go. They're not getting it all. Data provided shows at least 5 people died within Lake Mead's national grounds, which spans Arizona and Nevada. At least 4 people died in both Yosemite and Death Valley National Parks over the same period of time. Records show at least 4 more were found to have died within the Golden Gate National Park site. Meanwhile, records provided showed Olympic National Park in Washington saw the second highest number of missing persons reports in 2018 onward, followed by Colorado's Rocky Mountain National Park. So, I mean, that's your neck of the woods there, Charlie. So be careful.
Yeah. Well, Lake Mead's the fun one because as the water level decreases, the barrels start becoming obvious and people open them up and there's skeletons in there, and a lot of mafia problems got solved and dumped into into Lake Mead right outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah. This is a good article. This article was sent to me by my brother Clown Baby. He always follows this kind of stuff. He's all about missing 411, and he's a big hiker. He likes to go out hiking, so he tries to be aware of his surroundings. And I don't know, when you read missing 411 books, I don't know if it makes you more of a hiker or just like more aware of your surroundings when you head out into the woods. I hope the later part.
Put a camera on yourself at all times.
Yeah,
if you're out there hiking, so you get abducted, you get it on film.
So just to wind this down here, they're talking about going out and trying to find people, and to quote, you have to realize just how difficult it can be to find a single human in such a large area. When you're looking for a person, you truly are looking for a needle in a haystack. He added, it's extremely difficult to find a subject. So, yeah, I mean, I understand that, but when it comes to missing 411, it is literally, in some instances, these people were within 100 feet, 200 feet of the campsite. And then they're found miles and miles away, especially if they're a toddler. I mean, come on.
Yeah, up on a hill, 2 miles away.
Yeah.
Come on. What's happening?
It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I wanted to bring that up here. So I guess, congratulations, Arizona. You're number 1.
Have you been there, Mike,
No.
to the Grand Canyon?
No, I was there. I lived in Arizona for 2 years, and I never went. It's just one of my deficiencies as a person is leaving the house and doing things. But we're going to go back next year. We're going to head out to the West Coast, area, and one of the goals is to hit up Arizona, see the Grand Canyon, Sedona again, and go out there to the Redwoods as well. So, going to do a whole big tour out there of the West Coast.
Yes.
Cool.
So we'll move on here, and what stories did you bring, Charlie? What do you want to hit?
Well, I sent you the one about Amazon shutting down a customer's smart home for a week over a racial slur.
That's a good one. We should probably touch on that, because that just speaks to the world we are living in and ESG scores.
Yeah,
it really does. So here you go. Here's a headline here, people. This is the new world. Welcome to it. Amazon shuts down customer's smart home for a week after delivery driver claims he heard racist slur through Ring doorbell, even though no one was home.
That's good news.
Well, just in case. Just in case. Amazon reportedly shut down a customer's smart home after the delivery driver claimed he heard a racial slur coming through the doorbell, even though no one was home. Brandon Jackson of Baltimore, Maryland, came home on May 25th to find that he had been locked out of his Amazon Echo, which many devices, including his lights, are connected to. Well, don't do that.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
He would later learn that Amazon locked him out of his account after a delivery driver dropped off his package the day before. Jackson, an engineer at Microsoft, said everything seemed fine after the package arrived at his home, and initially thought that he was locked out because someone had tried to access my account, repeatedly triggering a lockout. But none of that was true. A representative directed him to an email he had received from an executive that provided a cell phone number, a number for him to call. When he called the number, he was told in a somewhat accusatory tone that the driver had reported receiving racist remarks from his doorbell. Well, then remove the doorbell. Don't blame me. Blame the doorbell.
Right.
This
It's not my fault that I have a racist doorbell.
Yeah. You programmed the thing. I mean, for crying out loud.
I got a bad one.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
Oh my God, it's a racist doorbell.
Trick or treaters.
It is true. But none of it was true. A representative directed. Okay, I read that part. Quote: "This incident left me with a house full of unresponsive devices, a silent Alexa, and a lot of questions." He wrote on Medium. Of course. It looks like Brandon Jackson is also a black guy.
Yes.
So it's just crazy. This is crazy that some person, a delivery driver, can just mishear something or make something up and totally upend your life because you have everything. And this guy, he works for Microsoft as an engineer. He should be smart enough to know how this could be used against you. I guess he's not.
He's getting a lesson in reality here.
Yeah.
We've now become so sensitive. Everybody's so uptight about being called some name or being perceived some way that they've just got to rat each other out. There's too many cars in the driveway. There might be a COVID party going on over there, or this guy's doorbell is racist and called me the N-word or something.
Well, here's the thing. So Jackson, who is black, said most of his neighborhood and its delivery drivers are also African American and would make it highly unlikely that we would make such remarks. I don't know. A lot of maybe they use racial terms as terms of endearment or as adverbs or adjectives or nouns or pronouns. Some of these words can just fly if you listen to rap music. So it's possible he did hear something, but it's also possible that he just made it up.
A soft A instead of a hard R,
possibly.
Maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, if this guy, the engineer who was locked out, is black, and he was just saying around, or maybe he was listening to some Biggie, maybe he's listening to some Tupac. Who knows? We don't know what's going on there.
How sophisticated are these systems, Mike? These Alexas or Ring doorbells. I mean, when they're gathering this information, and I would assume that's more valuable to a company like Amazon or Google than the device sales itself. But this data, how does it work? Do they just scan it for words and then assign keywords to your device and target market it that way?
I think they just assign keywords in general. Like it's all being, you have a profile. I think it's like, obviously the Alexa is always on. It's always listening. And they basically have trigger words. And so when it thinks it hears a trigger word, it will then notify a system, whether it is an ad to later be viewed by you or your house or sent to your device, or notify the authorities to totally shut off your house and you get arrested and shot. So I think this guy's ESG score has gone down. Doesn't matter if it was a misunderstanding or not. He's got a personal profile. He probably has a personal ESG score, much like what all the corporations have. And that probably, this Amazon system is tied into it in some way. And it peaked the threshold. He must have tipped the scales really hard. No.
He wanted to talk to the manager of Amazon for sure.
Jackson, who I read that part. Finally, when I asked what time the alleged incident occurred, I realized it was practically impossible for anyone in my house to have made those comments. He said practically impossible, but not impossible, as nobody was home around at that time, around 6 p.m., he wrote. What that means is either your doorbell is racist or someone broke into your house and started screaming racist stuff. I mean, those are your two options right there. So pick one.
I'm going to say racist stuff.
Yeah, Alice Jones broke into your house and just started speaking racist stuff into your doorbell.
That'd be so rad.
After reviewing the doorbell footage, he learned the device had given an automatic reply saying, "Excuse me, can I help you?" Oh, that's very, very derogative. That's very derogatory. Why would he say such a thing? He also said the video showed the driver had been wearing headphones during the interaction and must have misinterpreted the message. The next day, he was completely knocked out of his account, and it was rendered unusable during their internal investigation. So guilty until proven innocent is the philosophy here. And this is what they want for everyone. They don't want you just like your home's locked into this. This is what the digital passport is all about, which they're rolling out here soon for everyone, regardless of its the vaccine usefulness. They want everyone on the digital passport. Your personal ESG score goes into it. You'll be locked out of your house. You'll be locked out of traveling. You'll be locked out of the grocery stores. You'll be locked out of everything you love.
Drugs or sex?
Both.
All of it.
It wasn't until 6 days later that he regained access to his account with no follow-up email to inform me of the resolution, which has led me to question my relationship with Amazon. You mean you didn't immediately rip out all this shit and throw it in the trash and sue them into oblivion?
That's for damn sure.
There's got to be something in terms of services that, like, you can't lock me out of my house. What if my baby was in there screaming, or like my baby's in the bath? I ran out to get the mail, but I left my baby in the bath.
It's like the Tesla that locks, the doors lock automatically.
Yes.
When it catches on fire, which is the worst possible scenario. Great. When the Ring doorbell thinks you're racist, it should just disengage itself and stop working, not lock you in and not let you out.
My baby's in the bath. That's what I would have told Amazon. Like, you locked me out. My baby's in the bath. And I'm not going to kick down my door. I'm not that strong. My baby's not that important. But I want my baby. It's in the bath. And then you can sue Amazon. You just got to find a baby. After nearly a decade of loyalty, I've been given a harsh reminder that a misunderstanding can lead to such drastic measures, he wrote. You see, you didn't learn the lesson that this might be a technological overreach? Not just a misunderstanding would just be you misheard something and you carry on with your day. This was past a misunderstanding that it led to you spending 6 days being locked out of your house.
Yes. This is a huge problem.
It goes on to say, it seems more reasonable to handle such issues in a more compartmentalized way rather than a blanket shutdown of all services. No, this is the new world order. You're in it. This is the new world order. You just attached yourself to it right away because you're a Microsoft engineer and you're like, oh, I like technology. I'm going to put it in every aspect of my life. Due to this experience, I'm seriously considering discontinuing my use of Amazon Echo devices and will caution others about this incident. Just the Amazon. Yeah. Okay. Just get rid of it. Why? Why do you need a Ring doorbell? Why? Just look through the goddamn peephole.
I want to see if somebody's stealing my packages.
I don't know what to say about that, but go pick them up. Get a P.O. box and go pick them up.
Yeah, this guy learned his lesson. He needs to get off. The fact that he's still like, I'm going to consider maybe removing these things from my house. It's like you get rid of them immediately.
Well, the University of Maryland graduate said he's not considering using Raspberry Pi devices rather than those connected to Amazon. All right.
Okay, whatever.
Twist his dick!
All right, we've got a couple other options for you to pick through. We've got Arizona mom who fell victim to AI kidnapping scam testifies in Senate.
Okay,
we have.
All right, because I have AI news too, but it's of a different variety. But
is it better? It might be better than this. I just like the idea that there might be AI kidnappings.
I'll read my AI first because this is kind of in line with what Cretchid would want.
Okay,
what would Cretchid do? So here's a headline here.
You would read yours.
Hardee's and Carl's Jr.'s introduce artificial intelligent drive-thrus.
That's some good news on that front.
And there is a story attached to this, so I will play the story. But yeah, no more drive-through person. You're going to get a drive-through AI, which, I'm not immediately against. I'm not immediately against this. There could be some benefit here.
My buddy's doing this.
What do you mean?
With a company that he runs here in Denver that's doing.
Oh, he's programming this stuff?
For drive-thrus. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's listen. Carl's Jr.'s, Hardee's, AI drive-thrus.
As part of a company-wide initiative, the Hardee's on Gulf Road in Eau Claire has introduced a new member to its drive-thru staff. WEAU's J.D. Danielson made the drive-thru to interact one-on-one with this new member of the team.
Welcome to Hardee's. My name is Tori. What can I make fresh for you?
Tori is an artificial intelligence device brought to Hardee's and Carl's Jr. in order to boost accuracy, speed, and revenue in the drive-thru ordering process.
During the pandemic, the majority of our business shifted to what we call off-premise, which is the majority of drive-thru. But what we had to do was we had to evaluate our drive-thru business to see how we could become more efficient.
By using Tori as the order taker, VP of Northland Management Services Sam Munger says human employees can focus on greater needs for the restaurant.
We really were looking for ways to make that drive-thru more efficient, and the best way that we can do that is by freeing up our management to do other things like training, things like making sure accuracy of orders, food quality, things like that. And so by having Tori take all of the orders, it essentially freed up the management team to be able to go and assess other parts of the restaurant.
One of Tori's most efficient qualities is her ability to upsell, something noted by one of the service's providers, Presto Automation.
We actually ran our distribution center out of apple pies the first week because Tori never misses an upsell opportunity.
It's bullshit.
With upselling, she's spot on every time. She's extremely accurate. And if AIs are kind of it kind of depends on the vendor, but our particular one, Tori, is extremely personable, and so
these
Tori's
computers, I tell you, they just get crazier and crazier.
About AIs taking jobs away from humans, Munger assures that won't be the case.
We're still hiring. We're still not fully staffed, and so we're not overly concerned that that's going to be an issue at this particular time.
Looking ahead, Munger is confident in the future of AI drive-thrus.
We would love to grow it. We're, like I said before, we're somewhat in the early stages of this test, but if the preliminary results are indicative of some of the longer-term results, our plan is to start to try to roll this out in more locations.
In Eau Claire, J.D. Danielson, WEAU 13 News.
Computers broke.
If future rollouts occur, Munger says the AI will be placed in high traffic locations.
Okay. High traffic locations. It is taking jobs away from people. Like, what if I was like my entire career was a drive-through guy? I'm the best. I'm the best in the state. This is what I do. I get poached from other companies to come work at their drive-through. I'm like the best there is. And then now AI is going to take my career path away from me from being the best. I worked 20 years to be the best drive-through guy in the town, the Tri-County area. Now AI is going to take that away from me? Bullshit.
They're coming for everybody's jobs. All these low-skill jobs will be automated. They've already been outsourcing. A lot of the drive-thrus, when you go through them, they're rerouting you through like the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
In real time. You're talking to somebody that's not even anywhere, not even on the premises, maybe even not even in the country. So this is just the evolution of things. I mean, we push really hard to make sure that we get these a living wage, right? And as you start to ask for more money as this minimum wage, you get to a point where they make calculations and they go, robot is cheaper, doesn't need all the scheduling issues, we don't need to pay them dental. We don't need to, there's no bullshit about your girlfriend dumped you. We've just got the robot, and the robot works all the time.
I want my robot with good teeth, though. My robot, I want prime time teeth. It's got to have the top notch teeth, though. Veneers.
Robot computers.
Yeah. I want robot veneers. But that's disturbing. Let's take a look at your AI article. So now we'll just talk about AI now. What's the title of that one?
Arizona mom.
Arizona mom fell victim. Okay. Arizona mom. Okay, let's bring this up on screen right here. Mom, these bad men have me. Help me, help me. Arizona mom of two targeted in deep fake kidnapping scam gives a gripping testimony revealing how AI impersonated her 15-year-old daughter's voice as a man threatened to have his way with her.
Man, I got mixed emotions about this one.
Now, people accuse me of using AI voice all the time to impersonate Joe or Hulk Hogan. It's really tough to know. So, like, this is the latest one I did.
Hi! This is Alex Jones speaking on behalf from the Our Big Dumb Mouth podcast. Yeah. I've been talking to certain people on the phone thing lately. Yeah.
Does that sound like Alex Jones to you?
On Adderall.
It doesn't sound like a good AI Alex Jones. And I have some of the best Alex Jones clips that you could ever want. And I tried like hell to make it sound like him. I couldn't do it.
But what if we could get to a point where you could have your own, the AI was so advanced and so customizable that you could, in fact, set it so that whenever like, let's, as an example, your directions in your
GPS,
car.
Yeah, your GPS.
Your GPS, your audible GPS. Have it set to be Alex Jones giving you directions.
I would love it. If I could put my own voice that I want, that I respond to when I'm driving, then that'd be fantastic. Like,
just an extra, you pay an extra, $1 a month, $1 a month.
Don't give me any ideas, Charlie. Like, we don't need another subscription. Just like I'll buy the service. That's it. I don't need to subscribe to something. I guess the AI voice model for Alex Jones that I have is not that good. It is very Adderall-y.
Lights 2-pack okay. And finish with a medium fountain drink. It's all happening. Remember, that worked. Yo.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to do some more work on that. Sorry, people. But an Arizona mother has delivered an emotional testimony recounting a horrifying ordeal in which scammers used artificial intelligence to emulate her daughter's voice and stage a fake kidnapping to demand ransom. Jennifer Distanafo spoke before the Senate Judiciary Committee in a hearing on Tuesday, describing her terror upon receiving a phone call in April from scammers demanding $1 million for the safe return of her 15-year-old daughter, Bree.
That's a lot to pay for a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Give me money, give me bitch!
While the ruse fell apart in mere minutes after Disnafo contacted Bree and confirmed that she was safe on a ski trip, the pure fear the mother felt when she heard the sounds like the girl's plea for help was utterly real. And yeah, I can only imagine what a parent must feel when they hear their kid, what they think is their kid, screaming, or I guess just talking for help, because it's tough to replicate screams like an AI, I've noticed. So it'd be very difficult to do.
But if you had them whisper something like, Mom, I've been kidnapped. They've got me. You know, and you weren't hysterical, but really subdued, you could probably fool some people. I mean, we're getting to that point where the AI, pretty good. It's not great, but it's only getting better.
I'm trying to do this right now. This is help. I have been kidnapped. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to spell it out and yell it, and then arg, yell. Okay, yell. I'll see, and then we'll see our buddy Joe. He's been kidnapped. It's like, oh my god, let's see. I'm doing it right now. Let's see what happens.
Help! I have been kidnapped. Yo! Remember, we're yo.
There we go. That's Joe. That's definitely Joe. He's been kidnapped.
He's been kidnapped. I'll be damned.
He's definitely been kidnapped. Okay.
They got him. Damn it, they got him.
They definitely got him.
We're gonna have to do a fundraiser.
That sounds like Joe when he's terrified. It certainly does. He screams like that. I mean,
help! I have been kidnapped. Yo! Remember,
yeah, that's Joe. It's definitely Joe.
Yep. R.I.P. Joe. Sorry, I mean, leaves with a broken foot and ends kidnapped by. Who were these people? Where were they from?
So here, I wonder if the ruse fell apart in mere minutes. Though Bree does not have any public social media accounts, her voice can be heard on a handful of interviews for School and Sports. Her mom said, warning parents to be aware of how easily scammers can replicate a loved one's voice. She testified that it was a typical Friday afternoon when she received a call from an unknown number, which she decided to pick up, thinking it might be a call from a doctor. Yeah, doctors always calling from unknown, mysterious numbers.
They're sneaky.
Yeah, they're very sneaky. I answered the phone, hello, and on the other end was my daughter, Bree, sobbing and crying. How do you do sobbing and crying? How do you do that? Like, it'd be like sniff, cry, like something like that, right? Sniff, cry, crying, sad face, maybe something like that. I'll put a sad face in here and see if it can do that. Let's see if Joe can do this and be sad. Like he is our
sniff, sneef, crying, sad face. I need money. Remember, we were Jack Kiki, yo.
Okay, well.
He sounds like he's drugged.
Yeah, they chloroformed him. This article goes back to you. The mother at first thought that her daughter had hurt herself on a ski trip and maintained her cool, asking the girl what had happened. Brianna continued with, "Mom, I messed up," with more crying and sobbing. Not thinking twice about it, I asked her again, "Okay, what happened?" The mom continued. Suddenly, a man's voice barked at her, "Lay down and put your head back." At the moment, I started to panic. My concern escalated, and I demanded to know what was going on, but nothing could have prepared me for her response. "Mom, these bad men have me. Please help. Help me. Help me," she begged. Okay. It says, then the threatening voice came back, and it's like, "Listen here, I have your daughter. Tell me, you tell anyone, you call the cops. I'm going to pump her stomach so full of drugs. I'm going to have my way with her, drop her in Mexico, and you'll never see her again." Very elaborate plan right there. So did they find these guys? I want to know that. It was unknown number, but big deal. The kidnappers demanded a ransom of $1 million. But when a panicked Jennifer told them that was impossible, they quickly lowered their demand to $50,000. Boy, they really don't know how to negotiate very good, do they? They dropped from $1 million straight down to $50,000. You didn't try to go, what about a half? What about $250,000? Let's talk here. We're reasonable people here.
Huh.
She testified at this moment. The mom who called 911 came inside and shared with me that 911 was familiar with the AI scam where they can replicate your loved one's voice. So this is all about some sort of new law, right? If they're testifying before Congress, this has got to be some sort of new law where they want you to voice print your voice as part of your ID, your online digital ID. So no one, it's going to be like almost like two-factor authentication. Like, I got my password, but in order to confirm it's me logging in, they send me a number to my phone to confirm it's really me. And then the third step, then I got to speak into my phone to confirm my voice that's already part of some sort of digital database. So it's three-factor authentication, which is
problem, reaction, solution.
Yeah.
You want your voice ID'd.
Meanwhile, the outraged mom still had the hoax kidnappers on the phone. "I lashed at the men for such a horrible attempt scam to go so far and fake my daughter's kidnapping was beyond the lowest of the low. They continued to threaten to kill Bree. I made a promise I was going to stop them, that not only were they never going to hurt my daughter, but they were never going to continue to harm others with their scheme." Infuriatingly, Jennifer said that when she tried to file a police report, the matter was brushed off as a prank call. See, that's not a way to do it. Yeah.
All right, probably a prank caller.
She called on Congress to take action to help prevent criminal abuse of emerging AI technologies. As our world moves at lightning fast pace, the human element familiarity that lays foundations to our social fabric of what is known and what is truth is being revolutionized with artificial intelligence. Some for good, some for evil, she said. So what is the ultimate here? So I'm trying to scroll down here. In a global survey of 7,000 people from 9 countries, including the United States, 1 in 4 people said they have experienced an AI voice clone scam or knew someone who had. I don't know. Have you ever experienced an AI voice cloning scam?
No.
No, neither have I. I mean, I don't think I know anybody that has. 70% of the respondents said that they were not confident they could tell the difference between a cloned voice and the real thing. Huh.
This sounds like Ferris Bueller's stuff. Remember when he had the pre-recorded answers that he could just kind of push the button on the keyboard and it would play?
Yeah.
Feels like maybe this was like a pre-recorded...
They had a soundboard.
Like, yeah, we have a soundboard of your daughter's voice. Push this button here. Yeah. Oh no, I've been kidnapped, and
Okay, in the comments beneath the FTC's warnings were multiple testimonies of elderly people who were duped that way. So yes, this is the old people. You can get old people to believe this stuff. No problem.
Yeah, they're slow. Moving.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get through this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get through this video without crying, but I need to address this and take accountability.
Yeah.
To all my pog champs and piss babies, I'm sorry pilled. To all the himbo simps and normie incels, F in the chat. I, horny, posted on Maine, and that was cringecore to say the least.
It was.
I'm working hard to stop being the shit lib sigma cumlord. I'm working hard every day to be the turbocharged mommy dom gamer girl that I know that I can be.
Yeah, I know.
He's out of his mind.
I called my grandparents with that message. They're like, "Oh my God, it's Hulk Hogan. We got to give him money."
That's the future.
Yeah, that's where it's going. I'll take a look through here for just one or two more stories here. One or two more stories. This was sent in by a lot of people. We have to do this. I think we were on the cutting edge of this information, bringing these kind of headlines to the people out there. But here it is. Colossal asteroid the size of 99 narwhals to pass Earth Thursday, says NASA.
I love that headline.
You know what a narwhal is? That's one of those things with those...
It's a sea unicorn.
Yeah, it's got that horns on it, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's what I know that much, and I only know that from cartoons.
They are having some fun with the size ratio equations.
Well, I don't even know how big a narwhal is, so this is like not making like me feel anxious or optimistic. I don't know. Like, how big is your average narwhal?
It depends on the age.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Colossal asteroid the size of nearly 99 narwhals is set to pass by Earth on Thursday, June 15th. So tomorrow. Get ready, people. So this animal has been good. Where does it? Come on, I just needed the actual information here. So, how big is this asteroid coming to Earth? So, asteroid 2020 DB5 is truly colossal in size. 850 meters. That's absolutely enormous, even for a near-Earth asteroid. Of course, bigger ones do exist, such as Sirius and 16 Psyche, but they're much farther away. So how can we put that into a figure that is something more easily to understand? Well, we can use the metric system or something like that. Or we can use narwhals. Yes, narwhals. So narwhals are the unicorns of the sea, beings large like beluga whales, like but they possess a large, massive tusk out the front of their heads. So they're truly destructive, like little creatures.
Look at that guy.
They can grow to as much as 5.5 meters in length. The tusk, however, can grow as much as 3 meters. And that gives the narwhals a maximum total length of 8.6 meters. That's almost 2 ostriches in length.
Almost.
I think it's way bigger than 2 ostriches.
Well, it depends on how you lay them out.
Like one ostrich is like, it's got to be huge.
They're pretty big.
Okay.
They're super aggressive.
All right, we're going to move on to another headline here. Let's see. Do I have any other? This is kind of like a shocking one. We'll end on this one because this is kind of terrifying. This happens a lot. Family shocked as deceased woman wakes up during her own wake. Oh, okay.
That's some good news on that front.
I don't like that.
This is super creepy. The 96-year-old had previously been declared dead after suffering from a suspected stroke a few hours beforehand. Well, that's a quick fucking burial.
Yeah, it is.
You're dead, in the ground.
Get it, throw her in the ground.
What are we waiting for? Let's get this going. Being buried alive is one of the worst scenarios imaginable, and a fate that almost befell a woman who was brought to the emergency room at a hospital in Ecuador recently. Retired nurse had been suffering from a suspected stroke, leaving doctors battling to save her life. Ultimately, though, they believed they were unsuccessful, and she was subsequently declared dead. Wow, that was quick. That's all right.
You're dead already.
When family members gathered for her wake later that day, however, they were shocked to hear noises coming from inside the coffin and sounds of heavy breathing. It's a zombie. You got to take the thing out. It's a zombie or a vampire.
Light it on fire.
Is it a zombie or a vampire? You check.
An actual goblin vampire.
When they investigated, they were surprised to find her very much alive. Probably pretty irritated, too. There were about 20 of us there, said the woman's son. After about 5 hours of the wake, the coffin started to make sounds. My mom was wrapped in sheets and hitting the coffin. When we approached, we could see that she was breathing heavily. Yeah, she's probably pretty panicked. Officials are now investigating the issue of death certificates at the hospital. Yeah. How many other times did they do this to people? Just to get them through the process. Like, you're dead, get them out of here. You're dead, get them out of here. How many people do they bury alive? That's a scary thought.
Friday night, you want to go home.
You just declare them dead.
Let's tag them and bag them.
It's been a long day. Just declare them dead. Bury him, get him out of our hair. We got to clear out the ER waiting room.
Did you ever see the movie Blow?
A long time ago.
There's a scene in there where they're trying to count all this money that they've got in a box, and they just decide that they're weighing it. It's $2.5 million, and they just say, "Fuck it, I'm just calling it." Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, why not?
Fuck them.
That's exactly what happened here. They just they were just being lazy. That's all. I mean, that's it. They were being lazy. They didn't want to deal with it. And like, oops, okay. One got away.
Nope.
Charlie, hey, thank you for hanging out with me on this Wednesday. Where can people find you?
You can find Macroaggressions wherever podcasts are served, in audio format and in video format over on Rockfin. That's the best place. The website, theoctopusofglobalcontrol.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at Macroaggressions.
What do we put on the AI art? What do we put on the AI art? What do we talk about? I'm trying to think what we talked about that I could put on the AI art. Maybe the Unabomber, playing guitar. We did talk about the music a little bit. Dr. Stephen Greer. A Narwhal. Oh, yeah, a Narwhal flying through space.
Getting abducted.
Yes. Narwhal.
From the Grand Canyon.
A Narwhal at the Grand Canyon. Saving people.
Being abducted by Stephen Greer.
I like it. I'll see what the AI can come up with. But yeah, Narwhal has to be front and center there. Saving people. Like, every time I see a Narwhal, it's always like some cute cartoon. And it's like, okay, I'd like to hang out with one of those things. Looks cute.
Not this type. This one's just blood pouring from its horn.
And thank you to everyone in the Discord that was posting up stuff during the show. Since Cretch is not here, you guys were featured front and center in Cretch's spot of posting comments and gifts and all that stuff. So thank you very much. We'll be back on Saturday. I have no idea who is joining me, but I'll be talking about Skinwalker Ranch and the quantum paranormal theory as best I can. And we'll see what happens. And then pretty soon, we're going to be going to streaming to Twitch. I'm sorry, not Twitch, but Kick and Rumble instead of Twitch. Twitch has updated their terms of services where they're very draconian. They don't want people to do multi-streaming anymore. So Twitch is pretty much going to be dead here once I get the new computer. So we're going to be streaming to Rumble and Kick. Those are the two places. Twitch is going away, people. Twitch is going away. We'll make more announcements, though.
Well, bye to all the Twitch people.
Yeah.
I always watch it over there.
Not this show. Probably in the next month or two. So, Thank you, everyone. Shablagoo. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
You blow it!
Oh, I hit the glory hole right here.
I am tired.
Fuck off.
Who's giving me a knobber?
I am tired.
I guess this is my life now.
That's about all.
Shablagoo.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
We're done!
No.
The show is over!
Let me get your
Get
supplies.
the fuck
Let me
out
get
of
the
here!
cleaning supplies.